Hi, this is O.C. Ferrell, and I had an exciting week last week along with Linda Ferrell. We attended the Ethics and Compliance Officer Association meeting in Seattle, Washington. Uh, there was probably about 500 ethics officers from leading corporations there, and many sessions dealing with what they consider emerging issues. One of the more interesting things related to some general presentations on whistleblowing, and we had some clickers to vote on whether whistleblowers are heroes or are they rogues who damage the company. And with about at least 350 people in the room, can you believe it was exactly a 50-50 tie? And we were all shocked about this because it's just hard to believe that whistleblowers are viewed as a problem for the company, because at least my feeling, and many of the other professors who were there from University of New Mexico, we had about 4 or 5 there, we felt that if a whistleblower is not telling the truth, if you have good investigation, you should find that out in a few minutes. And if it's something worthy of further investigation and data gathering, then hopefully you're glad someone brought things forward. So it underscores the fact that a lot of the focus of ethics programs relates to compliance activities, and ethics officers seem to be very concerned about reporting to them or to your manager rather than outside whistleblowing. I heard an incredible presentation from Cisco, the systems networking company, and they talked about their ethics program. And you may find this interesting, but 85% of the employees at Cisco work virtually. They either work at home or out of their car or in a Starbucks or someplace else. They're traveling. And so therefore they've had to develop their ethics program to make it totally virtual. And what they find is it's working great. And they're doing one thing that we also heard a great deal at the meeting, is that there's a huge attempt to take ethics and compliance and move it down to functional managers, making sure that the vice president of marketing or operations or production and managers below those people get buy-in and understand what is required from an ethical perspective. So it's interesting that at Cisco, codes of conduct, codes of ethics, message boards, they have all types of interactive training tools. It's all done virtually. They have developed some what we call graphic comic books or graphic novels with a character called the Ethics Idol, kind of based on American Idol, to do global training on ethics. And of course, the Ethics Idol tries to show that situations where there could be ethical questions, for example, if my vendor is too nice and wants to take me out to lunch, should I go with him or not? So this was just very interesting, and I encourage any of you to look into Cisco's ethics program. We may talk a little bit more about this later. Another very interesting session I talked about a little bit in our summary from last week, and that was the roundtable. The roundtable that MasterCard put on with professors, students, and business ethics professors. And just learned a great deal there about there is a difference in how they feel about what students should be learning to adjust to a corporate environment. One thing I thought was interesting is the students were not happy about teamwork and making decisions in teams. And of course, the business people in the room said that's the way business works. And also, that's the way ethical decision making works. Sometimes we teach students that they're in a silo and they can use my model or my ethical values to make the decision. And unfortunately, there are not too many decisions where you're off in a room by yourself, not affected by others or not having pressure from others in the decision making. So that was very interesting. I think that one of the things that came out of that session, again, is tone at the top is so important. Everyone agreed on that. But of course, the students tended to think that businesses are not ethical enough and that they need to do much more. And in reality, the ethics officers said, well, we hear students are not that ethical. We understand that they engage in cheating. We understand that they, don't respect intellectual property. So we had a little back and forth there between the ethics officers and the students' comments about this. So it's something for us to all think about. In general, I'd have to say that this was an incredibly good event. And throughout this certificate term, we will be communicating ideas. We'll be communicating things that we've learned. And the thing, if I kind of would say the bottom line on all of this, is that there seems to be a big difference between what goes on in a corporation in ethics and compliance and what we often teach in the classroom. And that difference is companies are much more compliance focused, where we tend to be much more do the right thing ethics focused. So thanks, and we'll be looking forward to being back with you again soon.